Hey guys, so I want to take a second to apologize for my last video. I said a few things that I shouldn't have, and I just kind of want to go through it and clarify so that no one has the wrong idea. In the last video I said that ELLIOT RODGER had mental issues, and that those were solely to blame for what he did, that nothing else had any impact at all on his actions, and that it was only because he had this mental condition that he did what he did. And I also said that anyone who has any kind of mental condition of any type should be categorized with ELLIOT RODGER because they're potential mass murderers. Yeah, so I just want to apologize for saying the things that I said because I said them. You know, words happened, and for that I'm deeply sorry.
Here's the thing about this, Jacqueline. I believe it's wrong for you, or anyone for that matter, to pinpoint his intentions, his killings, his rampage on one specific thing.
How can anybody look at something like this and say, I think it's because he was misogynistic, or I think it was because of something else. I don't think it was so much of a mental illness. Now there are other things that come into play.
For you or anyone else to simply say he did this purely because he was mentally ill is wrong, naive, and ignorant. Now I'm not denying that he didn't have a mental illness. Rather, I'm simply making the case that you can't blame that specific factor.
So on a serious note, you really misinterpreted my video. I never said that mental illness was solely to blame. I said several times there were other things that played a role. And the point of the video was just to let people know that mental illness played a role, that it wasn't just misogyny, because I was sick and tired of seeing all these special interest groups jumping in on a tragedy and trying to capitalize on it and trying to use it to further their specific agendas. And furthermore, I think you're smart enough to know that I wasn't generalizing all mental illnesses as potentially being dangerous to other people. And then you go on to say how you have chronic depression and how you're personally concerned that my video is stigmatizing mental illness, which I'm not doing, and I can relate on the depression scale because I've been there. I've been medicated several times before. I took Lexapro, which is a combination of antidepressant, anti-anxiety, because I had both. I had recurring panic attacks. It was great. But there's a huge difference between generalizing and being imprecise. Yeah, I wasn't specific in the type of mental illness that he had because guess what? I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not qualified to make that type of diagnosis. So yeah, I wasn't specific. If I sat here and said, people with mental illnesses are dangerous, I hear ya, I would understand, that's generalizing. But if I say ELLIOT RODGER had a mental illness, that's just me not being specific. That's not me generalizing an entire group of people at all.
I'm getting labeled and generalized and stereotyped into this group of people that because I have a mental illness of chronic depression, I therefore am dangerous when I'm obviously not. I own my own weapon. This is my Glock. How can you Christians pay homage to a God that puts a gun to your head?
Of course you aren't dangerous, but I thought that was kind of funny, and it proves a point that you generalize too whenever you talk about Christians and groups of people. You, nor I, nor does anyone else have the time of day to put an asterisk by every group of people that we ever mention in a video, especially if it's a 5 to 10 minute video. We're trying to make a quick point. We're trying to pinpoint a specific topic of a specific issue that we want to bring up for discussion. We don't have time to be like, but not everyone every single time. And in this video, I'm clearly talking about how he was insane, which by the way is a legal term. So if you put it in context, saying that I was trying to stigmatize mental illness as a whole is way off base. And after all that, if you still think what I'm talking about applies to you, sit back and think for a second. Do you exhibit the behaviors about the person I'm talking about? No? Then it doesn't apply to you. Sit back, use some critical thinking every once in a while, and I promise you it'll save some major butthurt in the end. And another thing I thought was kind of weird about this video is it seemed too focused on me, to be honest. Now, a lot of people out there have used the very same wording that I have, so why not make it a video addressing a problem you see in society? I mean, if you want to throw my video in there around the 5-minute mark or something to make a point, then fine. But the video seemed to be more about a person than a topic, which is exactly why when I made my video, I completely avoided Lacey Green. I didn't say, this is a response to Lacey Green. I didn't have clips of her video in my video. I just talked about the issue because I think it's weird to focus on a person more than the problem as a whole, unless you had other reasons for doing so, which that's fine too. But the whole thing seemed to be more about my minor oversight than the issue, and I don't even know if I want to call it an oversight because I wasn't wrong, I just wasn't specific. And on the other hand, you're acting as though you're a trained medical professional able to make a very specific diagnosis. I'm not. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I am not able to make that kind of diagnosis. I mean, it's obvious that there are several different things that contribute to people's mindset when they do terrible things, like maybe they were betrayed in a horrible way, like I was one time, and maybe they were picked on as a kid and really bullied like I was all the time, and you know, maybe they had parents who went through a really, really horrible, messy divorce like I did, and maybe they... Speaking of bullying, thanks again for pointing out exactly what I said, which is that there should be no anti-bullying campaigns and that all these kids who are picked on just need to grow a pair. It reminds me a lot of all the anti-bullying campaigns that go on, and that's great because bullying is a problem just like misogyny is a problem. But the problem that people have with this is they try to fix the bullies. And as much as you try, it's not ever gonna work completely. What you have to do is you have to target the kids who are being bullied and teach them to stand up for themselves.
Just stand up for yourself. Grow some balls. No, that mentality, Jacqueline, is not a solution. Telling someone just to stand up for yourself for being bullied is not a solution to the issue of bullying.
Oh, so I said bullying was a problem, and that these campaigns are great. I'm sorry, I thought I heard differently. The anti-bullying campaigns that go on, and that's great because bullying is a problem just like misogyny is a problem. But I did say that these campaigns are not 100% effective and that we should do other things to encourage self-confidence because anti-bullying campaigns focus on the bully, and there are other ways to fight against bullying, and one of those is empowering the victims, and that is in no way belittling them. Equating that encouragement to saying grow a pair is way off base. Then we have PZ Myers, who decided to mega facepalm over my last video, probably along with all of his fans in the Atheism Plus movement. He said, and I quote, "It's not misogyny," she says. "It's because Roger was mentally ill." Yeah, I clearly remember saying that he wasn't a misogynist and that had nothing to do with it. Now, on the other hand, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say that misogyny had nothing to do with it because this kid was clearly very misogynistic, and that's not okay. Apparently, unless you toe the feminist line perfectly, you don't qualify as a valid woman, and you should be called stupid and labeled as someone in favor of misogyny. Because that's not hypocritical in the slightest, but that's okay, because PZ's better than me, and better than you, and better than anyone for that matter. Just ask him. So the moral of the story is that I hate people with mental illnesses and that I love woman haters. What other possible conclusions could there possibly be? Anyways, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. I know it ruffled a lot of feathers, so I want to hear about what you think about this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it everywhere. Thanks to everyone out there who's been buying my shirts. I'm not wearing one right now because I'm about ready to go out. It's Saturday night. But if you're curious about the kind of shirts that I have awesome Darwin shirts, and I have awesome fiction shirts. This is my favorite one, I wear it all the time. Fiction shirts, and shirts that say logic, because you gotta tell everyone how logical you are or else they're just gonna assume that you're like everyone else and we're way better than that, right? So anyways, if you want one of my shirts, go to jacquelineglenn.com. I'll have a link in the description below. Also, special thanks to everyone out there supporting me on Patreon. I just launched it officially last week, so if you're interested, I'll have more details about it in the description below. Thanks to everyone who's already supporting me. If you can't, that's fine. I appreciate you just watching my videos, but it's really helping me out a lot. I want to come out with some higher production stuff. I have some ideas for music videos and stuff, which would be super cool. So thanks again to everyone supporting me. Thanks if you got a t-shirt. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for liking this video because I know you did. Thanks for subscribing to my channel because I know you did. Thanks for commenting because of course you did that. And I'm gonna stop talking now. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go in the kitchen and make a sandwich. All right, bye.
There's no God, he doesn't exist, so don't